So agenda is getting started with the developer SDK options, selecting the suitable SDK for your development, and where can you find the documentation for different SDKs. Then we'll be talking about the enterprise browser, database, and quick glance at the EMDK. So Zebra Technologies provides device for enterprise to acquire, process, and consume the data from different sources such as barcode, MSR, RFID tags, smart cards, images, text, and other technologies. So Zebra offers broad array of the tools designed to suit these requirements and capabilities of the most of the organization. So if you might be already developing applications for your devices. So here we are talking about how can you utilize the features, add-on features provided by the Zebra. So what tools I need for? Here are the options. If your use case requires developing the web apps and you're planning to use the JavaScript and HTML, the choice is to go with the enterprise browser. If you're planning to develop the Android native apps using Java, so there are two options. One is EMDK for Android and Wedge. The Wedge is the tool which is specifically designed for the data capture. Even though if you develop the apps in native Android apps, for the data capture, we strongly recommend to use the Wedge. For other features, you can still go with the EMDK. So if you are developing the applications using the C#, that means you're using the Microsoft Xamarin tool to develop the application, then again, there are two options. For the data capture, you can use Wedge or EMDK Xamarin, but we strongly recommend to use the Wedge for the data capture. And for the other capabilities, you can continue to use the EMDK Xamarin. So this is about choosing the development language and the corresponding SDKs. So how do you decide which SDK is better for your use case? So here I have listed some of the features. One is the development environment. If it is browser based, go with the enterprise browser. And if you are using the Android Studio or Visual Studio, the database is, you can use it because it's based on the intents. If you are developing applications only using the Android Studio, the EMDK is an option. If you are using the Visual Studio, EMDK Xamarin is an option. The programming wise, enterprise browser uses JavaScript. Database utilizes the intents. EMDK Android Java, and Xamarin is C#. If your application, you're looking for an application to be cross-platform, definitely enterprise browser is an option for you to develop the application which works across the different OS. So there are a lot of UI tools available on the PC. So that's available on all the SDKs. Barcode scanning, it's supported in all the SDKs. When it comes to document capture, it's supported in the enterprise browser and Wedge only. So the EMDK Android and Xamarin are not supporting that document capture. Similarly, RFID, enterprise browser and Wedge supports, but it will be supported only on the specific device. If the device has the capability to read the RFID tags, then it will be supported. Device, if your use case requires developing an app to configure the device, then you can utilize the enterprise browser or EMDK. So for all the SDKs, the samples and the documentations are available. So if you want to look at in detail on how do you choose the SDKs, you can go to this link, techtalks.zebra.com/help. That gives the comparison of the different tools and it helps you to choose the right tool based on your use case. So when you go to the techtalks.zebra.com, it gives the multiple tools information. So you can find the database documentation, EMDK, enterprise browser, EMDK, Xamarin. So all these things will cover the about the tool getting started. There are multiple video tutorials, sample applications are available, guides on best practices, APIs, licensing, and if your use case requests remotely configuring the device or remotely configuring the behavior of your applications. You can utilize the remote config, or if any questions, right? Many people might have already asked the frequent questions, so that is also captured in this documentation. So let's take a look at the different tools in little more detail. So enterprise browser is a cross-platform industrial browser. It provides rich set of JavaScript interface to the Zebra value adds such as barcode scanner, printer, RFID, key capture, custom keyboards, and many other features. Provides Java interface for the other enterprise device capabilities such as camera, Bluetooth, intent, and sensors. The picture on the right side one, which gives the overview on what is included in the enterprise browser. If you look at the center part, that is the browser web view. So if the Chrome supports only this part. If you are looking at the next layer, it supports the scanner, voice, Gradle. And if you're comparing with the other competitors like Honeywell, they have very limited set of these features. But when it comes to the enterprise browser provided by Zebra, it has the other capabilities like configuration, API, UI configurations, security, and you can even configure the browsers. You can map the keys. You can add the button bars. You can have meta tags, page-based actions, auto fit to the device screen, shortcuts, multi-session, and support for the SAP bundle, DOM injection. There are a lot of features available. So the enterprise capability, when it comes to the enterprise capabilities, the enterprise browser supports the different warehouse management solutions like SAP, Infor, or Manhattan Scale, etc. And the retail and healthcare business solutions from the different ERP vendors. It has an exhaustive list of configuration options for the UI rendering, security features, and browser features like cookies and cache. For those customers who do not want to change their server-side application to add new features, EB provides several ready-to-use features such as SAP bundle, DOM injection, hardware key remapping, custom keyboards, and UI auto fit. All these things you can just do it by configuring the EB config XML and pushing it to the device. This section talks about the list of APIs available in the enterprise browser. It provides the APIs for the application, audio capture, barcode, ability to get the battery information, Bluetooth, camera, card reader, database, the device. If you want to modify the keyboard behavior, for example, if you want to have a custom keyboard when your screen comes up, so you can go and enable that. NFC, file intent, keep capture. There are so many features available. You can take a look at in detail on the each and every features. And other thing is like the critical feature is signature capture. If you want to capture the signature, if you want to print the data to your printers, or if you want to send notifications, there is an exhaustive set of the APIs available. So one of the thing in the enterprise browser 3.0 is, if you look at the older versions, the licensing wise, it's all perceptual. You buy the license once and it will be there for the end of the life of the device. But with the 3.0, the licensing is term-based licensing. You can go and buy the licensing based on 3 year or 1 year, 3 year, or 5 year terms. So 90 days trial license is available, and you can continue to develop the application and try it out to check whether it fits your use case, or do you need to choose the other SDK tools and all. So the perceptual license still it will be in effect. It will not be removed. It will be continued if you have already purchased it. If you are using the PS20, and this includes the enterprise browser 2.x as the pre-installed with a license that never expires. But if you are planning to upgrade it to the enterprise browser 3.0, then it requires purchasing the new license. So this is a quick overview on the enterprise browser. Let's take a look at the data wedge. So one question will come up is, what is data wedge? Data wedge is an application, provides capability for an application on the device to acquire data from various input sources such as barcode scanner, RFID, and manipulate the data before delivering to the application with zero coding. That means you don't need to write any code. Just you bring up your application. If it has the edit box, you can scan the data and get it to your edit box, or with minimal coding. So the data wedge also provides the capability to detect the application. For example, when a screen of an application is brought to the foreground, the data wedge will automatically detect the change and configure the barcode scanner to match the application's requirement for that app or the screen. If you have multiple screens in your application, you can go and tell, when the screen one comes up, I want to have these configurations. When you go to the screen two, you want to have a different set of configurations. So all those things you can achieve it without even writing any code in your application. So there are multiple development options. One is zero code. Use the data wedge UI with the keystroke output. That means you are not writing even single line of code. You have your application and you have the multiple edit boxes in your application, and you can scan the data and gives to your application directly. Or instead of having the edit box, you want to have a different option. So you can write a minimal code just to receive the data without even changing the configuration. Configure the settings outside of your application code and just write an code to receive those captured data. That's the minimal code. Just you write an intent broadcast receiver and you will get the data to your application. Other one is the data wedge APIs. If you need the finer control, like the classic way of writing, you go and control everything through your application, or modify or query the data wedge configurations and perform all operations based on the application's request. So that time you can use the data wedge APIs. That's the standard intents. So these are the three options available. Based on your use case, you need to decide which one is best suited for your business use cases. So when it comes to the data wedge, everything goes with the profile. So profile defines the set of data wedge actions customized for an application or a specific screen in an application. So if the foreground app or the screen is defined in any profiles, the data wedge will automatically detect all the actions associated with the profile and configures the scanner settings or the other settings for your application. So if you look at the screens, so you can go and create as many profiles as you want it, and you can go and configure the profiles. You can specify, okay, what are the applications you want to use that profile? Do you want to enable the enterprise keyboard? Do you want to specify the input scanner? Do you want to use the Bluetooth scanner or the built-in scanner or camera? Or you can go and specify what are the decoders you want to enable when that screen or an application comes to the foreground. You can create the profile, configure it, and you can associate the profile to an application, and you are done. So as soon as your application comes up, all good to go. The major features are the data capture supports single barcode scanning, UDI barcode scanning, multi-barcode scanning. Also, it supports all the major barcode decoders. So the data capture also supports the OCR A and B fonts and the signature decoders. For example, you want to scan the passport or you want to scan the visa, so you can utilize the OCR A and B fonts and capture the data. So all these the barcode scanning, there are two things, right? If you have a single barcode, you can utilize the single one. But if you have a templates, like you have the license driver's license, you want to capture all the information in that driver's license, you can go and create a template and capture the document data and send it to your application. Also, you can read the RFID tags with the RFID input. You can use the voice to capture and send it to your application, or you can even go and trigger other actions based on the voice. Configure the data wedge automatically to scan with external Zebra peripherals such as USB SSI scanners, Bluetooth scanners, or serial scanners. So you can create profiles to implement the data wedge settings requirement for individual apps. Data processing. For example, you scan the data, you want to modify that. For example, you want to prefix the data, or you want to postfix with some data, or you want to filter out certain data and send it to the application. All those things you can configure it in the data wedge as a part of the profile creation and configuration. And based on that, the data wedge will format the data and sends to your application. So when the data wedge is configured with enterprise keyboard, for example, your application wants a custom keyboard when it's launched. So you can go and create the custom keyboard layouts using the enterprise keyboard and push it to the device and tell the data wedge saying, when my application comes up, go and bring this layout without even writing any code. So once you create these profiles on a device or on a PC, right? So you want to deploy to the so many devices in your customer's location. So for that, there are ways to remotely deploy and also you can securely deploy it instead of someone is going and editing it and disturbing the configuration. You can remotely and securely deploy the configuration to all the devices using EMM tool. So there is a new feature. Previously it was called simulscan. Now that's the next generation simulscan. This supports the multi-barcode scanning. So if you have a barcode like this picture, you want to scan all the barcodes in a single scan session. So you can go and tell the data saying, okay, scan me so many X number of barcodes. You can say, scan all the 5 barcodes or 10 barcodes and send it to me at once. Or scan all the barcodes, send it to me as soon as each and every barcode is scanned. That's instant reporting. Or you can say, scan all the data in the same session, whatever the data is scanned, just send it to me without even waiting for the other barcodes. So this is a great feature if you have the use cases like multiple barcodes and you want to scan it and send it to your application instead of scanning one by one at a time. So as I mentioned, document capture. If you have a document like this, you can go and create a custom template with the anchor barcodes, and you can import the template into the data wedge remotely. And when you scan it, the data will be scanned and sent to the application. If the size of the data is bigger than the 500 KB, like images and all, the data will be sent through the content provider. So what you do is scan the anchor barcode to capture the designated areas within the template as images, such as address fields, signatures, etc., and get it to your application. So the next generation SimulScan also supports the other features like signature decoder. So if you have a signature in between the certain vertical lines, you can enable that feature and scan it and send it to your application. Once you scan it, you can go and define what is the format you want. Based on that format you defined, you'll get the data to your applications. So this signature decoder is not a new concept in the SimulScan, but it's added to the SimulScan. So the next one is the OCR A and B. If your use case requires scanning the passport or visa, based on the the OCR type, you can go and scan the data from the passport or visa. In this case, this is the data here, the bottom one. So that covers the data wedge. So most of the capabilities, as I mentioned, you can go and create the profile and achieve most of your use cases without even going and controlling at the code level. So there are certain use cases like some of the use cases based on my user's input or the data coming from the server, I need to take certain actions. So in those cases, you can use the data wedge intent APIs to control in at the final, like a regular APIs. Also, if you are using data wedge, so since it's based on the Android intents, either you can use the same intent in your Android native application or the Xamarin application. So most of the new features which is getting added to the data captures, it will be immediately available in the data wedge. If you are looking at the EMDK, it may not get added immediately. It might take some time based on the business needs, but data wedge is the recommended approach from the Zebra. All the data capture capability provided by the Zebra will be available in the data wedge. So the next one is the EMDK. So EMDK means it's the Enterprise Mobility Development Kit. It's the classical API. So for example, you want to enable the scanner and go and configure. You will say, get the EMDK manager, then go and call the enable API. Then you'll go and get the configuration. You will be writing a lot of code. And when you started writing a lot of code, there will be a lot of testing effort required. And also, if you want to modify any configurations, again, you need to go and modify the code. Modify the code and rebuild your application, go through the entire testing and release process. That's where you'll see the lot of benefit of data wedge compared to the EMDK for the data capture use case. So EMDK is offered for the native developers. That's the EMDK for Android, and Xamarin Android developers. That's the EMDK for Xamarin. So this provides the comprehensive set of tools for creating enterprise applications like barcode scanning, profile manager to configure the device for the application's use case, notifications, personal shopper, like if your devices are in cradle and you want to unlock the device from the cradle, or you want to blink LEDs on that cradle. So the personal shopper device will have that capability, and you can use those APIs to perform the unlocking or locking or notifying the device. Also, it provides the capability for SAM, scan and pair APIs, getting the versions, and many other. This also provides the GUI tool. For example, if you want to configure device, the profile manager as the tool which is integrated to the Android Studio, you can go and install the plugin from the Android Studio or the Visual Studio, and you can configure it. That will create all the settings. At the end, you'll go and call an API in your application to set those configurations. So the EMDK provides the barcode scanning APIs to enable, configure, execute, and handle scanning with the Zebra device within an application. As I mentioned in the beginning, Zebra strongly recommends Wedge for scanning to utilize the rich scanning capabilities and ease of development and testing. So you can go to this link and look at the detailed comparison on EMDK versus Wedge, and that will help you to design your app better. So this covers my quick 30 minutes presentation. So the next session is, upcoming session is developing RFID solutions using the Cloud Connect on your FX Reader.
Thank you so much, Kanagal. I think we have few questions. We have 2 questions. So the first question from Alexander is, for scanning data manipulation on the enterprise browser, does it work with Data Wedge or internally in the enterprise browser console?
So the data configuration and all, the Data Wedge will manipulate the data and gives back to the enterprise browser.
Okay, and the next question from Don is the next gen template builder available at this time?
I don't know the exact timeline. We can get back on that.
Okay, and then is it possible to create a Data Wedge profile dynamically through the app?
Yeah, you can use the Data Wedge intent APIs and you can create the profiles.